Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're diving into some PvP with the new Verse Blackbeard. This guy is very, very unique in the PvP game mode, and probably going to see play on the Int team. Int's kind of in a very weird spot right now. They have a lot of buffs going for them. They have like a bit of a weird Int cerebrally kind of build with stuff like Atlas, Yamato, Pudding, Bonnie, those types of units. The new Memories of the Strike Chopper fits in over there too. But then they've also had this very, very good and staple being Driven Powerhouse Int. And obviously with the new Blackbeard, he is all three of those, being Int, Driven, and Powerhouse. With his kit, he doesn't really buff your team. What he actually does is he actually nerfs the enemy, which is a very interesting concept when you're going up against the units that he does actually nerf, because he can do some really, really nice stuff. But the big thing that Blackbeard does do is dot damage. Now, dot damage has been kind of a meme for a very long time now, as it hasn't really ever done much when it comes to actually killing units, doing damage, all of that fun stuff like that. But with this new Blackbeard and his level 10 dot damage, things kind of change just a little bit. So, as mentioned, he is an Int-driven powerhouse character. He has a 25-second cooldown, which is very, very powerful. And he can basically just debuff the crap out of the opposition. Now, I'm trying to find his information here, but I just can't seem to find his actual PvP stuff. A lot of information. Pappy tweets about 4 billion times. Shout out to that guy. Go follow him on Twitter if you guys want all of the One Piece information. But the dude, he just can't seem to post the goddamn PvP stuff. But what he does do, like I said, he does level 10 dot damage with his special. He also rolls back special by by 15%. And then he does a massive attack down drop. He does a massive defense down drop, I believe, too. And then with his passive, as I mentioned, he nerfs the opposition. So with his nerfing in his passive and his nerfing in his special, you can do a lot of damage with characters like Atlas, with characters like Luffy, and with characters like Smoker. With this team you guys are seeing on screen here, this team's kind of built around the dot damage factor. So I decided to bring in characters that can special bind, characters that can halve stats, characters that can roll back specials, obviously being Blackbeard himself, and then having characters that can kind of stop the enemy from doing stuff, so that way we can allow the dot damage to do its thing. His passive is going to nerf Slasher, Powerhouse, Cerebral, and Fighter enemies by level 7 speed, level 7 attack, and when you have 5 or more Powerhouse characters on the team, all enemies defense down level 7, CT speed down level 3. For the first 20 seconds of the battle, he gives himself level 10 CD reduction. So you do want to try and build out 5 Powerhouse characters on the crew to get the effectiveness. So if you are building an Int team, you do want to try and satisfy that condition. However, Int have just so many good Powerhouse characters. Obviously, you have stuff like Moria. You could throw something like Top Musica on the team as well if you want to make it more driven-centric. You have the new Anniversary Super Sugo Luffy, who's very, very good. And then you have Brogy and Dory. Like, they're just absolute monsters on the bench. They both got level limit breaks too, which makes them very, very strong. Then you can run like S-Hawk as like a slasher on the bench there too, and that works out pretty nice as well. Ints have a lot of very good units that can debuff stuff like Psy now. They have a lot of speed going for them, have a lot of rollback going for them. Yamato with her gimmick of just auto-killing is very interesting. And this Blackbeard taking down some of these big-name teams, namely like Slasher and Cerebral teams, does work wonders. On top of that, Powerhouse is kind of littered everywhere with the Dex Powerhouse team, as you guys saw in the first clip, and then like the Strength team having a lot of Powerhouse characters as well. Blackbeard could definitely find a home over on this Int-based team to take down those different types of builds. On top of that, if you are running Yamato, you're always getting that 100% off, which works nicely. But Blackbeard's big gimmick, as mentioned, is that dot damage. It is level 10, which is absolutely massive on a 25-second cooldown. He targets 3 high attack enemies for level 8 attack down, and then targets high current HP for a 100% chance to block healing for 15 seconds. He does level 10 dot damage for 15 seconds, and then does a 15% delay. So he'll do that to the characters that have the highest current HP. Fortunately, the rollback doesn't target characters that have the highest CD, which is kind of annoying, because when you verse stuff like Nami Karina and other characters that can roll your specials back, cross guild and stuff like that, you really want to try and roll back those characters rather than roll back some of the high HP units. But the classes of Fighter, Slasher, Powerhouse, and Cerebral, they pop up everywhere on big teams. I actually wanted to dive in against this Shooter team because this is a team that didn't really have those classes, and I wanted to see how Blackbeard went, but they obviously had characters like Kizaru Fuji, who's a Slasher. They have characters like Frankie, who is a Powerhouse, Rise of Shinobu, who's a Slasher as well. So I wanted to see how it goes with sort of a team that sort of has those classes kind of littered amongst them. And like I said, the whole point of this team was to sort of focus on the dot damage. Ideally, you'd probably want to run S-Hawk in the front rather in the back. Smoker in the front literally is just there to be a bit of a meme to just hit with some special bind. Luffy's obviously doing the blowaway, which can slow the enemy down. Yamato has the ability to just nerf the crap out of the team as well, lowering stuff like defense and attack and all that fun stuff. And obviously Moria has the ability to half stat. So with all of these sort of like very annoying shenanigans, the idea was to kind of like slow the enemy down and allow Blackbeard's dot damage to really do its work. And whilst I was sort of doing this showcase, I was watching the dot damage hit, and it was hitting for stuff like 8, 9k sometimes. Big downside to Blackbeard, though, is that whilst his cooldown is very, very low, and he gives himself that level 10 CD, so that way you get the special off very quickly, the team doesn't really have enough speed to suffice that. I would always find that Blackbeard would be ready to go by, say, the 20 to 23 second mark, but by the time he actually got in the order of the queue, he was attacking like 10 seconds after that, which was a little bit of a problem. So that's kind of a downside to the character, but that's really nitpicking, and that's where the RNG of the game comes into play as well. So it's always something to note. Taking a look at the the Psy fight now, I really wanted to try and highlight the depth that Int actually has. Obviously, you have characters like your Rogue, who's another very good powerhouse character when taking on Psy characters. Probably due for a level limit break, if I'm being completely honest with you. But look, he's another powerhouse character that can satisfy the Blackbeard condition. You have stuff like Apu, who I brought into the team over Smoker, just to sort of nerf Psy a little bit, because look, this Psy team, it's very anti-Int. So there's also that. But Int are now in a really good position where they can sort of comfortably take on Psy. It's not going to be like a guaranteed win all the time, like, don't get me wrong, that's not what I'm saying. But they are in a more comfortable position now with something like with someone like Blackbeard, who can really take down some of these very annoying Psy characters that would stereotypically be a huge problem for the Int team. So I actually take like all of the specials to the face early, and we still get the win here. So this is a really good showcase of how deep the Int team can go, especially against Psy. Obviously, Yamato isn't going to kill a Psy character with her death hit just because of the damage reduction effect. 30% reduces the 100% to 70% HP cut rather than a 100% HP cut. But look, it is what it is. But as you can see, like, we did so much nerfing to the enemy. Like, they're on like negative 20 defense. That Dory shot right there with the special bind actually saved the entire fight, because we blocked Yamato and we blocked Law. So without that, we would have died. We would have lost for sure. But that special bind that Dory provided was very, very strong. As for other characters Int have at their disposal, as I mentioned, you have that your Rogue character if you are taking on Psy and you need more powerhouse characters. You could make the team more driven-centric, but look, in my eyes, you kind of have to bring Luffy. And then obviously you have that sort of cerebrally set up with like Chopper and Pudding, Bonnie, those types of units too. But at that point, in my eyes, I'm kind of like, well, why not just run more of like a cerebrally Int team at that particular point? But it was really nice to see that we could go up against Psy with not exactly like a full anti-Psy, but just kind of throwing Apu on the team and taking it on. Because with the Psy team, obviously you have like a lot of slashes with like Roger and Law. We have a lot of cerebral characters too, if you're taking on stuff like Saul, for example. Sanji's a fighter. You have... Oh no, Jin's a striker, isn't he? You have a bunch of powerhouse characters as well. No, you don't. Not with Psy. What are you talking about? It's mainly just slashes and fighters, really, but it works quite well. As mentioned, though, most of the time you probably want to run like S-Hawk in the front. Like, it kind of just makes sense because he does so much damage. Unfortunately, the Int team does kind of lack damage, and as I mentioned at the start of the video, I was sort of funneling this team into utilizing a lot of dot damage to see how that went. But obviously, just running S-Hawk in the front and just not relying on stuff like Special Bind and just having pure damage can definitely help too. Just having a character of S-Hawk's caliber just elevates the int team. Then having characters like Blackbeard that can sort of nerf out the enemy to allow other characters like Luffy to hit very, very hard is very, very nice. I don't think int is like there yet. With this Blackbeard buff, it definitely helps them out a lot. I do think they're a top 5 team. I don't think they're close to top 3, but like I do think they are in the top 5 in there somewhere. But let me know what you guys think of the int team down below. Let me know what you guys think of Blackbeard, if you guys have seen him or if you're watching him and you think he seems like a fun character, pretty cool character. I do like that they've gone down a very unique path here and they've sort of taken up nerfing the enemy rather than actually buffing your team. But obviously with Blackbeard, he still really wants you to run 5 powerhouse characters. But as mentioned, like int-driven powerhouse has always been disgustingly strong. It's always had a lot of options at its disposal. So finding those 5 powerhouse characters really isn't a big problem. In GP, he does seem very interesting as well. He buffs Psy and int teammates, and then obviously does driven and powerhouse as well. He gives CT buffs, speed buffs, attack buffs, HP buffs. So you can do some really, really fun stuff with int powerhouse. You can even do stuff with something like int driven. Or you can just build out like that int cerebrally powerhouse team with like Luffy and Atlas and all those types of characters. And then just throw on a side team and just call it a day. Don't have to worry about the driven and powerhouse over there. As for his burst ability, where's his burst ability? At level 5, he targets fighter, slasher, powerhouse, cerebral characters for defense down level 8, attack down level 8, damage over time level 4, which is kind of mid. And then he does a 100% chance to make healing to 0. So healing to 0 is kind of a very interesting mechanic. I think it's a new mechanic in PvP. But it's very interesting because it actually helps a lot with stopping some of those really stallier teams. When you're taking on defensive builds, Blackbeard can be definitely an ace in the hole. But like I said, let me know what you guys think of Blackbeard in the comment section below. Way down there, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Let's see how this dot damage goes here. I think the dot damage actually wins us the fight here. I think. Or maybe it's just like S-Hawk just killing everyone. Or maybe just Brogy killing everyone. Yeah, it's probably just that, to be honest. But like I said, guys, thank you all for watching. Bell the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff.